Welcome to the Spanish course. We're going to start with a small introduction first to this course. You will learn a variety of new topics in a very short span of time. Alright? First few topics you will learn is greetings, farewells, how to ask somebody what is your name. You will learn months, days of the week, etc., etc. And you will really enjoy this class. Now, most of you must have chosen to come here because you love Spanish, you love the Spanish culture. Spanish is spoken in at least 20 countries of the world, including Spain itself in Europe, and in Latin America, excluding Brazil. Do you know that why Spanish is spoken in so many countries? That is because when Christopher Columbus discovered the Americas in 1492, and he went back to Spain telling the Queen and King of Spain about this new continent, they were very happy. But he found out that this continent is not civilized at all. That's why they sent many missionaries to Latin America so that they could spread their Christianity, religion, and they could spread their language in this continent. And this is how the Spanish came into being in this continent. These days, therefore, many countries speak Spanish. Mexico, Ecuador, Bolivia, all these countries speak Spanish. Why? Because they were ruled by the Spanish missionaries at that time, in the 15th, 16th century, etc. Spanish is the easiest language in Europe, and it is a very beautiful language also. It is such a fun language to learn because it has a very easy grammar rule to follow. As soon as you will learn this language, it will sound so musical to you that you will not even feel like leaving this language at all. You will say, no, I want to learn this language. I want to keep learning this language. Another thing the Spanish language is famous for is its beautiful culture. Christmas is celebrated in Spain, and it is not just celebrated for one day. It is actually celebrated for 10 days at least. Christmas celebrations are started on the 24th December itself, following with a grand dinner and with partying all night. You will feel so happy, again I'm telling you, learning the Spanish language. Another thing that is very famous in Spain is the community of Andalusia, where you find so many beautiful oranges. Andalusia is a community in Spain which is very famous for its oranges. Spain is also famous for its food, for example, gazpacho. Spain is the land of gazpacho, which is the cold tomato soup. It is the land of paella, which is its national food. Not only Spanish is the easiest language in Europe, but it is actually the easiest language in the world to learn. It is more easy than English. So why not learn this language? Also, it is important to learn a foreign language these days because it is important to be a bilingual. You are paid more. If you are an engineer in the United States, they will ask you that, do you know a foreign language? And you can happily say, yes, I know Spanish. Spanish is also spoken in the United States of America. It is the second most spoken language. In New Jersey, you will find, when you go to the malls, you will find announcements taking place only in Spanish and then English. In their products, the Spanish language is written. For example, if you buy a bottle of milk, Spanish is written in that bottle. That's how famous the Spanish language is. So, happily learn the language in this course. Pay attention. Learn the language. Learn the beauty of this language. Hello, everybody. We are going to start the class with greetings and farewells in Spanish. Let's look at the translation of this. The translation of this is los saludos y despedidas en el español, with los saludos meaning the greetings and despedidas meaning farewells, and en meaning in and el español meaning Spanish. Let's see what this lesson has to offer us. First, we start off some definitions in Spanish. How will you greet a person when you meet them on the road or in the school? The first word is hello, and in Spanish we say hola. The H is silent. That's why we do not pronounce this word as hola but hola. The second word is buenos días, which means good morning. Notice that the I in días does not have a dot like we do in English on top of the I. Instead, we have a little line, which means we have to stress on this I. So we have to say días instead of días. If there was no line on top of the I, we would be pronouncing it as días. Let's look at the third word now. The third word is buenas tardes, which means good afternoon or good evening in Spanish. Notice that I am not pronouncing the letter T in Spanish as t, nor am I pronouncing the letter D as d. In Spanish, these two letters are pronounced as t and the respectively. That's why I'm saying buenas tardes and not tardes. You have to be very careful with this. Another thing, the word buenas is pronounced as buenas. Many people have the tendency of pronouncing this word as buenas, which is not right. In Spanish, you have to pronounce each and every letter clearly with an open mouth. You need to say buenas tardes and not something like buenas tardes. So always remember to open your mouth nice and round. Next word, buenas noches, which means good night. Notice that CH is pronounced as ch. Many people have the tendency of pronouncing CH as k in Spanish. K is pronounced in Italian, but not in Spanish. In Spanish, CH is pronounced as ch. Next word, gracias. Gracias means thank you. The letters CI together are pronounced as fi. Gracias or gracias. Both are correct. CI together can be pronounced as fi also and C also. If you're in Latin America, you can pronounce it as C. If you're in Spain, you can pronounce it as fi. Next word, no sé. It means I do not know. Again, there is an accent on top of the E, so we have to stress. We have to say sé instead of sé. Because if you remember, I had just told you that whenever there is an accent on top of the vowel, you have to stress on that very letter. One thing you need to remember is that this line is known as tilde in Spanish, which means accent. They only come on top of accents. Now we're going to look at how to talk with a person when you meet them for the first time. This can range from anything to as, what is your name? In Spanish, we say what is your name as, ¿Cómo te llamas? Notice that again there is a line on top of the O. So we do not say como, but como. Because I had just told earlier that whenever there is a line on top of the vowel, we have to stress on that vowel. So we have to say como. If there was a line on the second O, then we would have said something like como. And if there was no line, then we would have said como. But there is a line, so we say como. ¿Cómo te llamas? Double L is pronounced as lia, okay, or ya. If you're in Latin America, you can say ya. If you're in Spain, you can say lia. And if you're in Argentina, you can also pronounce it as ja. So you can say ¿Cómo te llamas? You can say ¿Cómo te llamas? Or you can say ¿Cómo te llamas? Which both are correct. Notice in Spanish, we have two types of question marks. One is in the end and one is in the beginning. The beginning one is upside down. Why is that so? Well, there is no hard fast rule. We include it because it's just a rule in the language. If someone asks you, ¿Cómo te llamas? You tell them, me llamo Maria. You can add any name you want. It means my name is Maria. Then you can ask them a question like, where are you from? De donde eres, which means where are you from. De means from, of, donde means where, and eres means you are. So it's actually like saying from where you are. You can say yo soy de America. I am from America. Yo means I, soy means I am, and de you already know means from, and America you know means America. Another word for America is Los Estados Unidos, which means the United States. You don't have to always write yo, you can also just say soy, because soy in itself also means I am. ¿A qué te dedicas? I want to tell you that QUE in Spanish is not pronounced as que but que. Similarly, QUI will not be pronounced as qui but ki. Okay, so here basically we're not pronouncing the letter U. We are thinking it's just KE is written, for example. ¿A qué te dedicas simply means what do you do? You can say something like yo soy estudiante, which means I am a student. You can say yo soy profesor, which means I am a teacher. You can say yo soy profesora, which also means I am a teacher but female, because the word profesora is ending in an A. If you say profesor, it will mean a male teacher. You can also say yo soy doctor, which means I am a male doctor. You can say yo soy doctora, which means I am a female doctor. ¿Cuántos años tienes? How old are you? You can say something like yo tengo 10 años. I am 10 years old. Now, obviously, you want to see off someone. How will you see off somebody? How will you say bye to them? There are many ways to say this. For example, you can say something like me voy, which means I am going back. You're having a conversation with somebody and you're tired, then you will say I'm going back. You will say me voy. Many people have the tendency of saying the word me as me, like we do in English, but we do not say this in Spanish. We say me. Because in Spanish, the letter E is pronounced as A. And I told you earlier that all these vowels in Spanish are pronounced the way we pronounce it in the alphabet. So we say me voy. And the OY is always pronounced as OY. Necesito ir. It means I need to go. You can even say yo necesito ir, which means I need to go. Okay, if you say necesito also, it means I need. Debo ir, it means I should go. So basically necesito means I need and debo means I should. And as you can see from these sentences, ir means to go. Tengo que ir, I have to go. Tengo que basically means I have to. And if you can even write yo here. Yo tengo que ir, which will also mean I have to go. Hasta luego means bye. Now, the LUE letters will be pronounced as lue and GO will be pronounced as go. Many people have the tendency of pronouncing it as jo, but it is wrong. GO is pronounced as go, just like we do in English. And again, H is silent here also. And T, as I had said earlier, will be pronounced as the. Hasta mañana means see you tomorrow. As you can see, hasta means see you. Okay, and luego means later or then. And hasta mañana will mean see you, and mañana means tomorrow. Mañana also has the meaning of morning. Notice that on top of the N there is a curly line. This curly line means you have to pronounce this letter as nia. Mañana. So you cannot say manana but mañana. Hasta mañana por la mañana. This means see you tomorrow morning or see you tomorrow in the morning. Por la mañana means in the morning. Adios means goodbye. Again, you can see that there is an accent on top of the O, so you have to stress on this word. Again, we will not pronounce the D as D, but we will pronounce it as the. Hasta pronto will mean see you soon. And then we have encantado, encantada, which means nice to meet you. Other person will say mucho gusto, which means the pleasure is mine. The last two will obviously come into play when you are ending the conversation. If you're a boy, you will say encantado, which means nice to meet you. If you're a girl, you will say encantada, nice to meet you. Mucho gusto can be said with by anyone, whether you are a boy or a female, you will say mucho gusto. Notice that GU will be pronounced as gu. And again, I want to remind you that T will be pronounced as the and D will be pronounced as the. Okay, please do revise all these vocabulary words. They will be very handy for you. This is it for this lesson. We're going to study numbers right now, which you will really enjoy. The translation of numbers in Spanish is los números. Let's go ahead with this lesson. We are going to practice the pronunciation. You can repeat after me. One is uno. Notice that U is not being pronounced as U. We are not saying uno but uno. Number 2 is pronounced as dos. 3, tres. 4, cuatro. 5, cinco or cinco. Cinco if you're in Spain. Cinco if you're in Latin America. 6, seis. 7, siete. 8, ocho. 9, nueve. 10, diez. 11, once if you're in Latin America. Once if you are in Spain. Number 12, doce if you're in Spain. Doce if you're in Latin America. 13, trece. 14, catorce. 15, quince. 16, dieciséis. 17, diecisiete. 18, dieciocho. 19, diecinueve. 20, veinte. 21, veintiuno. 22, veintidós. 23, veintitrés. 24, veinticuatro. 25, veinticinco. 26, veintiséis. 27, veintisiete. 28, veintiocho. 29, veintinueve. 30, treinta. 31, treinta y uno. Now I want to go back to these numbers and I want you to concentrate on the counting 1 to 10. 1 to 10 you have to memorize by heart. You have no choice. You have to say to yourself, okay, number 1 is uno, number 2 is dos, etc. Then, number 11 to 19 also you have to learn very carefully. You have to remember that 20 is pronounced as veinte. Now, let's concentrate on the numbers from 21 to 29. Now, you already know that number 20 is pronounced as veinte. You know that 1 is uno. So when we say 21, we have to say veinte and uno, simple. However, when we say veintiuno, instead of saying veintiuno with an E after the T, you will write an I, like I have written for 21. I have written veintiuno with an I. Let's look at 22 now. For 22, I say veintidos. Okay, I have taken my veinte, which is 20, and I have taken my dos, which is 2, and I've joined them together. And, however, you need to remember that I am not writing E with veintidos. I am writing an I instead. Same goes for 23, which is veintitrés, 24, which is veinticuatro, etc. You just need to remember that with numbers from 21 to 29, you have to write veinte and the other number from 1 to 9 together, and in between there should be the I. Now when 30 comes, How will you write 31 and 32? You already know that 30 is 30. How to write 31? You have to say 30 y uno. You have to say 30 and 1. 32, 30 and 2. In English, obviously, we don't say 30 and 1, but in Spanish, we have to say it like this. We write it like this. But when we are reading it in English, the Spanish word, when we translate it, we will obviously translate it as 31. So what am I doing here? I'm taking my number 30. I'm writing the Y, which means and in Spanish, and then I write my 1, which is uno. Same goes for 32. I write 30, which is 30. I write my Y, which is and then I write 2, which is dos. Okay, this I will do for 31 to 39. You can do this by yourself in your notebook. Let's see how we pronounce the words 40 to 100. 40, which is 40. 41 will be 41. All I'm doing is I'm taking 40. I'm writing E, which is and. I just want to remind you that this letter Y means and, but its pronunciation is E. 41 means 41. 42 will be 42. 43 will be 43. 50 is 50. 60 is 60. 70 is 70. 80 is 80. 90 is 90 and 100 is 100. Now we're going to learn how to make sentences with numbers. Cómo hacer oraciones con los números. Oraciones means sentences and con means with. Let's read these sentences. Hay 4 estudiantes en la clase. Hay means there are or there is. Okay? And estudiantes which means students. En la clase means in the class. There are 4 students in the class. Hay 10 personas en la clase. There are 10 people in the class. Okay, again H-A-Y is pronounced as I. The H is silent. I want to remind you that the Z letter is pronounced as S or Th. So we can say 10 also or 10 also. Personas means people. En means in. There are 10 people in the class. Hay 30 personas en el parque. There are 30 people in the park. Parque means park and el is masculine the. Parque is a masculine word, so I say el parque. There are 30 people in the park. Number 4. Hay 100 estudiantes en la universidad. There are 100 students in the university. Estudiantes, again, it means students. En means in, and la is a feminine the. Universidad ends in DAD. DAD ending is a feminine ending in Spanish. So I will say la universidad instead of el universidad. Hay 60 estudiantes en la escuela. There are 60 students in the school. Escuela means school. I want to tell you to practice these sentences, and you can also come up with more sentences. Have a look at some online dictionaries in your meantime. You can look at the internet for some keywords. Now here are the keywords, what I was explaining you. On the right hand side are all these keywords given. I have used these keywords in my sentences. So let's look at these keywords. I, again, it means there are and there is. And many people have the tendency of pronouncing this word as he. But it is not he. It is I. Estudiante means student. Estudiante can be a male student also. It can be a female student also. Estudiantes means students. Personas means people. Persona means one person. Parque means park. Again, I want to tell you that QUE in Spanish is pronounced as que and not que. And it is a masculine word. Parque. En means in. Clase means class. It's a feminine word. Escuela means school. Okay. CUE in Spanish will be pronounced as que. Okay. Universidad means university. Many people have the tendency of pronouncing this word as universidad, but it is not. it is universidad, because in the Spanish alphabet, the letter U is pronounced as U. Now I would like to also draw your attention to un, which is masculine una, which is feminine Basically, un is a masculine It is used with all masculine nouns. For example, parque is a masculine noun, so I will say un parque. Universidad is a feminine noun, so I will say una universidad. Okay, el is a masculine the. Okay, and I can say, for example, el parque, which means the park. Parque is a masculine noun, so I will say el parque. I can say la escuela. Escuela is ending in an a. It's a feminine word, so I will use the feminine the. La escuela. Actually, in Spanish, the nouns have genders. They end in o, they end in a, etc. That's why we have masculine and feminine articles. Un, una, el, la are articles. So this is it for now. You can practice reading these sentences. You can also write them on your own. You can also refer to online Spanish dictionaries, which are like SpanishDict.com, and you can come up with some vocabulary from that online dictionary, and then you can practice writing your own sentences from there also. This is it for this lesson. Please keep practicing. Let's have a look at the days of the week in Spanish. This is translated as los días de la semana. Los días meaning the days and semana meaning the week. Now, very simple vocabulary you need to learn pronouncing. Let's look at it. El lunes means Monday. El martes means Tuesday. El miércoles means Wednesday. El jueves means Thursday. El viernes, Friday. El sábado, Saturday. El domingo, Sunday. I would like to draw your attention to the word Thursday in Spanish. Notice that I have pronounced the letter J as K instead of J. That is because J has the pronunciation of K. We have a very nice and strong K, el jueves. Another thing I want to tell you that to notice that the days of the week in Spanish do not begin with the uppercase letter. Like, for example, lunes is written with a lowercase l. Martes is written with a lowercase m. That is a rule. Another thing you need to know that the days of the week carry with themselves the L, which means the. So it's actually saying the Monday, the Tuesday. Obviously, we'll not pronounce, we will not say these words as the Monday when we're translating them. We will simply say Monday, but in Spanish, it is actually understood as the Monday, the Wednesday, etc. Now let's learn how to make sentences with the days of the week. First of all, let's look at the keywords here. Viene después de means it comes after. Okay, después de means after. And when you write después de, you can write, you can attach with it any word you want. Whereas viene, it's by itself means it comes. Okay, the second keyword you need to remember is viene antes de, which means it comes before. Antes de means before, whereas después de means after. Let's look at the first sentence. El lunes viene después de domingo. Very simple. You have the keywords with you. You can easily translate it. You can say, for example, Monday comes after Sunday. You know that el lunes means Monday. You know viene después de means comes after. And you know that domingo means Sunday. Second sentence. El martes viene después de lunes. Tuesday comes after Monday. El miércoles viene después de martes. Wednesday comes after Tuesday. El sábado viene después del viernes. Saturday comes after Friday. Okay. Here, the only thing you need to remember is the vocabulary of the days of the week, and you need to remember that when you're writing after in Spanish, you cannot forget to write de. You have to write después de. You cannot just write el martes viene después lunes. It will be grammatically wrong. Let's look at the second lot of sentences. Number 1. El jueves viene antes de viernes. Thursday comes before Friday. El lunes viene antes de martes. Monday comes before Tuesday. So I just want to draw your attention to antes de. Antes de is the opposite of después de, because antes de means before and después de means after. Number 3. El miércoles viene antes de jueves. Wednesday comes before Thursday. El sábado viene antes de domingo. Saturday comes before Sunday. So here you have to remember the important keywords and the days of the week. And you need to know the difference between después de and antes de. You start writing your own sentences also. And learn these ones also. Now, you can also write about your birthday. For example, you can even use the days of the week to talk about when is your birthday. Let's look at the keywords here. Cumpleaños means birthday. Es means is. Mi means my. El means on. El also means the. Cuando means when. Tu means your. Padre means father. Madre means mother. And de means of. Let's look at the first sentence. The first sentence here is ¿Cuándo es tu cumpleaños? When is your birthday? Okay. As you know, cuando means when, es means is, tu means your, and cumpleaños means birthday. So when we translated it, you will come with the answer, when is your birthday? You will simply reply, Mi cumpleaños es el lunes. My birthday is on Monday. And you, ¿y tú? ¿Y tú in Spanish will be written as Y, comma, and tú, with an accent on the U. That small line I was talking to you about. That tu which has a small line on top of the U means you. And if you do not put any line on that U, it will mean your. Number 3. Mi cumpleaños es el sábado. My birthday is on Saturday. Notice that I am saying el sábado. El sábado can also mean on Saturday, because on the right hand side, under the keywords, you will notice that el means on. Number 4. ¿Cuándo es el cumpleaños de tu padre? When is the birthday of your father? El cumpleaños de mi padre es el miércoles. The birthday of my father is on Wednesday. How am I translating? I'm just following my keywords and the days of the week. Number 6. ¿Cuándo es el cumpleaños de tu madre? When is the birthday of your mother? El cumpleaños de mi madre es el jueves. The birthday of my mother is on Thursday. So what I would like you to do is, you please make your own questions regarding the birthday of a person and then answer that very question using the days of the week. This is it for this lesson. Let's have a look at the Spanish months. The translation of months is los meses, which means the months. Let's look at the vocabulary words first. Repeat after me. Enero, January. Febrero, February. Marzo, March. You can also pronounce the word marzo as marzo because the Z is also pronounced as S. It is pronounced as S also and S also. So we can say marzo or marzo. Abril, April. Mayo, May. Junio, June. As I said, J is pronounced as K. Julio, which means July. Agosto, which means August. Septiembre, which means September. Octubre, which means October. Noviembre, which means November. And Diciembre, which means December. Please remember that all the Spanish months are written with a lowercase letter and not with an uppercase letter because this is a rule in the Spanish language. Now let's learn how to make sentences with months. Oraciones con los meses means sentences with the months. With oraciones meaning sentences, con means with, and los meses meaning the months. If you want to say something like, my birthday is in January, for example, you will say, mi cumpleaños es en enero. You know that mi means my, cumpleaños means birthday, es means is, en means in, and enero means January. So it will mean my birthday is in January. You can even say febrero, which means mi cumpleaños es en febrero, my birthday is in January. Su cumpleaños es en julio. Su means his, her, it means your, for politeness also. So his birthday is in July, her birthday is in July, and your birthday is in July. Mi cumpleaños es el 18 de mayo. My birthday is on 18th of May. Remember that I had explained to you earlier that el is also translated as on. Mi cumpleaños no es en febrero. My birthday is not in February. If you want to negate something, for example, if you say, my birthday is not on such month, you will write the no straight after the cumpleaños. Mi cumpleaños no. Es. You cannot say mi cumpleaños es no. In English, we write the no after the is. But in Spanish, we write it before the is. Mi cumpleaños no es en enero. My birthday is not in January. Again, we are doing the same thing. We are writing no after the birthday. It's like saying in English, my birthday not is in January. But in Spanish, we have to say, mi cumpleaños no es en enero instead of saying mi cumpleaños es no en enero. Many people will have the tendency of saying no after the es, but it is not correct. ¿Cuándo es tu cumpleaños? When is your birthday? Mi cumpleaños es el 11 de marzo. My birthday is on 11th of March. Mi cumpleaños es el 17 de octubre. My birthday is on 17th of October. Please remember to write down your own sentences like these, and this will help you to revise everything you have studied so far. This is it for this lesson. Welcome! We're going to learn how to talk about yourself in Spanish in this lesson. First, let's see how to translate the sentence into Spanish. It means cómo hablar de sí mismo or de sí misma en el español. Now, obviously, before we learn how to talk about ourselves, we first must know a list of adjectives. It is very important. So let's practice the pronunciation first and then let's learn their meanings. The first word is guapo, which means handsome, guapa, which means beautiful. You need to know that in Spanish we have genders for adjectives. If we're talking about a male, the adjective will end in O, and if we're talking about a female, we will use the adjective ending in A. So therefore guapo is for a boy, whereas guapa is for a girl. It is different than in English where we do not have genders for the words. Second word, bonito, bonita, handsome, beautiful. Travieso, traviesa, naughty. Travieso is for a boy, traviesa for a girl. Again, it is different compared to English where we have just one word, naughty, for both males and females. Fourth word, inteligente, intelligent. Words that end in E will be used for both males and females. That means we do not end the word in inteligenta for a girl, nor do we end the word with inteligento for a boy. The words ending in E for adjectives will remain common for both males and females. Next word, callado, callada, quiet. The double L will be pronounced as lia or y. Honrado, honrada, honest. Honesto, honesta, honest. Sociable, sociable. CI will be pronounced as C or C. Sensato, sensata, sensible. Sensible, sensitive. Alto, alta, tall. Delgado, delgada, thin. Gordo, gorda, fat. Simpático, simpática, kind. Responsable, responsible. Trabajador or trabajadora, hardworking. Words in Spanish that end in OR are masculine. In order to change them into feminine, we simply add an A. Now we are ready to tell what is our name, where we are from, and etc. First, we tell in our introduction our name. We say me llamo, which means my name is. Number 2, we say where we are from. For that, we have to say yo soy de, and then we write the name of the place. I can say, for example, yo soy de Italia. I am from Italy. Yo soy means I am. De means from or of. Number 3, we write where we live. Yo vivo en, I live in Italia. I live in Italy. Yo means I, vivo means I live. Even if you don't write yo and you simply write vivo, it will mean I live. Number 4, you can write your parents' name and describe them in 7 adjectives. Mi padre se llama, which means my father's name is. Mi madre se llama, my mother's name is. Then where you see LS, it means he is. Ella es means she is. Here you can write 7 adjectives that you learned previously. For example, you can say él es inteligente, he is intelligent, etc. Number 5, describe yourself in 7 adjectives. Yo soy, I am, and here you can write the 7 adjectives from the list you just learned. For example, you can say yo soy trabajadora, which means I am hardworking, and you can write 6 more adjectives here. Number 6, write your pet's name. Mi mascota se llama, my pet's name is, and you can write his name. Number 7, describe your pet. You can describe your pet by saying mi mascota es, my pet is gorda, for example. My pet is fat. Number 8, write what do you do. Yo soy estudiante, for example. I am a student. You can also say yo soy profesor. I am a teacher. Number 9, write your age. Yo tengo 10 años. I am 10 years old. You have the numbers list, so you can use other numbers to tell your age. Also for professions, you can use any other profession you want. Number 10, you write your birthday. Mi cumpleaños es el lunes. My birthday is on Monday. Mi cumpleaños es el 16 de julio. My birthday is on 16th of July. Now, obviously, you will be given a list of vocabulary words for professions. You can include other professions also. Okay, in this list. So again, I will repeat. The self-introduction is a very easy lesson. You just take out a pen and a notebook and try writing as much as you can. Alright? And again, it is very easy to learn. So I will just give you an example. For example, I can say something like, Me llamo Rina. Okay, my name is Rina. Yo soy simpática, honesta, trabajadora. That means I am kind, honest, hardworking. And I can use other 4 adjectives to describe myself. Then I can say, Mi mascota es simpática. My pet is kind. And other thing. Yo soy doctora. I am a doctor. Yo soy científica. I am a scientist. So again, as I had said to you earlier that Spanish is a very easy language to learn. I'm sure that by looking at all these sentences, you will feel that it is definitely an easy language to learn. I don't think whatever I have taught you so far would be very difficult to learn. Now, you will be definitely given a list of vocabulary words, so make sure you add something additional also to this. It's not like you have to add what I just gave you. You can write something more imaginative also. Hope you like the lesson. This is it for this lesson. Let's start to describe the hair first, along with the colors and then the eyes. So, the first word we will learn is yo tengo, which means I have. Then we will learn el pelo, which means the hair. Now there are a variety of words with which we can describe the hair. For example, I have black hair, I have blonde hair, I have short hair, and etc. So what are these words like in Spanish? Let's learn them. We can say corto, which means short. We can say largo, which means long. We can say negro, which means black. We can say rubio, which means blonde. These are all the adjectives that are related to hair. We can also say liso, which means straight. Ondulado, which means wavy. Rizado, which means curly. We can say brillante for hair, which is shiny. All these words are related to how to describe our hair, a person's hair. Now, let's say if we want to make a sentence and say, for example, I have black hair. How will we say that in Spanish? So let's scroll up to our vocabulary. We have just learned that yo tengo means I have, right? And we also know how to say the hair, which is el pelo, right? Now I want to say I have black hair. So I will quickly look at my vocabulary and I will see that negro is black. It clearly mentions here. So I will go to my sentence and the first word I will write is yo tengo because this is what I've just learned. I have. So I will write on number 11, yo tengo. Now this means I have. Now, one thing we have to learn is that in Spanish, we do not write the adjective first. We write the noun first. In English, it's the other way around where we say, for example, I have black hair. Black is the adjective, right? And the hair is the noun, right? But in Spanish, it's the other way around. We will say the noun first, which is the hair, and then the adjective, which is negro, right? So I will go over here and I will write yo tengo el pelo. As I had said, that the noun will come first, and this is the noun. So this in English actually means I have the hair. Okay, and now I will write my adjective negro over here. Yo tengo el pelo negro. This means I have black hair. Technically, if you translate it word for word, it means I have the hair black. But in reality, it means I have black hair. I have just made one change comparing it to English, and that change is that the noun in Spanish comes first and the adjective comes after. Whereas in English, it's the other way around. We say the adjective first and the noun after that. Now you can create as many sentences as you can. What if you want to say I have long hair? So we quickly look at our vocabulary and we see that largo means long, right? So I write my sentence over here, number 12, and I follow the same structure like this. So I write, yo tengo el pelo largo, which means I have long hair, right? So I continue making as many sentences as I can in order to describe the hair. Now, this letter means and. This is a Y, but its pronunciation in Spanish is E. Now, what if I want to say I have black and long hair? How will I say? Maybe you have guessed it already. You can take a few seconds to write it in your notebook. If you have guessed it, let's check if your guess is correct. You can say yo tengo, which means I have, el pelo, the hair, and then you will write negro here, and then the E, which means and then your largo word, which means long. So this means I have black and long hair. All the adjectives will always come in the end, which is very different to English. In English, we will say, I have black and long hair. Hair comes after black and long words. But in Spanish, as I said, the noun will come first, the adjectives or the color will come in the end. So we have learned how to make our first sentence with description. Okay. Now let's learn how to describe our eyes. But before we do that, let's learn why is our adjective ending in an O. In Spanish, adjectives can also end in A, right? You will notice that many adjectives are ending in O. Here it is ending in an O. This one is also ending in an O. This one is also ending in O. In Spanish, these words that are ending in O can also end in A. Corto can become corta. Largo can become larga. Negro can become negra, right? Now, but what is the reason? There is a reason behind why these words are ending in O. The reason is that this word, the noun, is ending in an O. When the noun is ending in an O, the adjective will also end in an O. This is a very important part of Spanish that we need to learn. Another thing that is very important for us to know in this lesson, when a word ends in E, like brillante, which means shiny, words that will end in E will not change into O or A. Okay? If this is ending in an E, it will always end in an E. For example, even if the word was pela, we would have still referred pela to brillante. And if this, in reality, this word was pela, if it was ending in an A, then all these adjectives would have also ended in an A. Corta, larga. Right? So, this is the description of hair, how we describe a hair of a person. Now, let's say we want to say something like, she has black hair. So, ella means she, okay, and ella tiene means she has, okay. How will I say, for example, she has short hair, for example? Okay, she has short hair. Short is corto. So I will say, same structure. The only thing is that yo tengo changes into ella, right? So I will say, ella tiene, and I choose this, el pelo corto, which means she has short hair. If I want to say he has, well, L with an accent on the E means he, and él tiene means he has. If I want to say he has short hair, I will say él tiene el pelo corto, which means he has short hair. Okay, and we can create as many sentences as we can because we have learned many adjectives to describe the hair, colors, texture, and all that. After learning how to describe the hair, we are going to learn how to describe somebody's eyes. So we had learned earlier that yo tengo means I have, okay? And the eyes in Spanish is los ojos. Okay, this means the eyes. Okay, you might be thinking that how come this is los and earlier word was el for the? Well, that is because this word is plural. So los is the plural form of el. This is very important to know. Okay, now let's learn some adjectives that could be described with the eyes. We can say I have blue eyes. So how do we say blue? It is azules. Okay, verdes. This means blue. This means green. Marrones we can say, which means brown. We can say negros, which means black. Now most of you must be thinking that earlier when we were describing the hair, we were using negro. Remember when we had learned to say something like yo tengo el pelo negro, we had not used negros. We had used negro word for pelo. So you might be thinking, how come for ojos we are using negros? That is because in Spanish, colors change their number according to the noun. So since the noun is two, we have two eyes, it's plural. So the colors will also change into plural. That's why negro word, which was earlier ending in an O, has been changed into negros. So if I say yo tengo los ojos negros, in English it actually means I have black eyes. However, we don't say that in English. We say I have black eyes. However, in Spanish we say I have black eyes. So the colors or the adjectives will always change into plural if the noun is plural. Okay, right? Now, another thing that you need to learn is that whenever an adjective is ending in a vowel like A, O, E, I, O, U, and you have to change that adjective into plural, you simply add an S, right? And if a word is ending in a consonant like marron, marrones is actually the plural form of marron. Okay, you can clearly see that marron word is ending in an N, which is a consonant. So if I have to make it plural, I will add an ES. Okay, so these are small things you need to remember. Let's look at verde. Verde means green. You can clearly see it is ending in a vowel. In order to change it into plural, I will simply add an S, right? If I go to azul, azul means blue, but I need to change it into plural, so I will add an ES because we just learned that words that end in consonant, when we have to change them into plural, we simply add an ES. Okay, very easy to learn. Okay, so we will continue with our adjectives to describe the eyes. Okay, we can say claros. Claros at times can also mean blue. Okay, so the real word is actually claro, But I've written an S here because we're describing los ojos, which means the eyes in Spanish, right? We can say grandes, which means big. Again, the real word is grande, which means big. But I have added an S here because we are describing the eyes. It is plural. If there was only one eye, for example, el ojo, let's say there is one eye. Let's say we have been blessed with one eye only. So we will be saying yo tengo el ojo negro. Then I will not add negros because I have just one eye. So I will say I have a black eye. Okay? This is how we write in Spanish because only one noun is there, singular noun. So the adjective will also be singular. Yo tengo el ojo grande. I have the big eye, or I have big eye. But because the eyes are many, los ojos, yo tengo los ojos grandes, I have big eyes. Right? Let's continue with our adjectives. Pequeños, which means small. Real adjective is pequeño, but because ojos is plural, I write my S here. Bonitos, we can say. Bonito, bonitos, beautiful. So I think these are pretty clear to talk about our eyes. All right. Now let's try to create a sentence with it. Okay. What kind of sentence we can make with these words? For example, we can say, let's say I want to say something like, I have blue eyes, for example. So we have to see what is I have. I have is yo tengo, if we learned, right? We just learned that. Then we need to know what is blue. Blue is azul, right? Azul or azules. Azules because ojos is plural, so we need to change azul into plural form. So I will say yo tengo, which means I have azules ojos. But is that right? No, it is not right. Only this much is correct. This is wrong because I had mentioned earlier that we can never write the adjective first, right? We always write the noun first in Spanish. So this is wrong. Ojos azules, this is correct. Okay, I have blue eyes, azules. If you just write this, will this be right? No, it will be wrong because you cannot write yo tengo ojos azul because ojos is plural, so this will change into plural as well. Yo tengo los ojos azules. Now, let's say you want to say I have big and beautiful eyes, for example. How will you say? So, I have is yo tengo. Okay, we have to write the noun first. Eyes is los ojos. Let's see what big is. Big is grande, right? So I will write yo tengo los ojos grandes, and we had learned earlier it is this Y which is pronounced as E. Now let's check what is beautiful. Beautiful we wrote was bonitos. So we will write yo tengo los ojos grandes y bonitos. Right? So this is how we describe our eyes. And then of course you can say she has green eyes, like we learned earlier. Ella tiene means she has. So if I want to say something like she has small eyes, how will I say? So she has is ella tiene, eyes is los ojos, and then small we just learned pequeños. By the way,
This QUE is pronounced as K and not que, and this N with the curly line on top is pronounced as near. So it is pequeños.
Hello, everybody. Right now, we are going to learn Spanish for travelers. This is a very special lesson for those who are planning to travel to Spanish-speaking countries like Spain and other Spanish-speaking countries in Latin America. In this lesson, you will be learning how to speak if you are in an airport, if you are in a hotel, and if you are in a restaurant or catching a taxi. This is something you will enjoy. You will learn what kind of vegetables there are in Spain. You will learn pronunciation, and you will be happy because you will learn how to say new sentences. These are very simple sentences because, as you know, the Spanish language is easy to learn, so you will not find that many of difficulties when you are speaking in Spanish. So let's go ahead. How to converse at the airport. Another thing I would like to tell you that this will be beneficial for you because this, especially this conversation at the airport will teach you small things. For example, what time the airplane will take off, what time it will land, from which gate number you have to go to, etc. So let's start. And please practice the pronunciation with me. The first one. El vuelo despega de la puerta número 18. This means the flight takes off from gate number 18. El vuelo means the flight. And despega de means takes off. De la puerta from the gate. Número 18, number 18. So, for example, when you are in the airport and you want to ask somebody, okay, so what time it takes off, then this is what answer you will get. Obviously, you want some help from the airport authorities. You will ask them, ¿Puede ayudarme usted? Can you help me? Here, puede means can you, and ayudarme means help me, and usted means you formal. You can even put tú here, which means you informal. So you can also say, ¿Puede ayudarme tú? No sé dónde está la puerta número 18. I do not know where is gate number 18 or gate number 18. Puerta número means gate number. Puerta also means door. And no sé means I do not know. And donde means where. And está means is. And la you already know, it means the. ¿A qué hora despega el vuelo? At what time does the flight take off? ¿A qué hora means at what time? And you already know that el vuelo means flight. Notice that the word take off in Spanish, which means despega, is coming before the word flight. So it's like saying at what time takes off the flight, basically. Here are some more phrases. When somebody asks you at what time it takes off, then they will say, El vuelo despega a las 2 de la tarde. The flight takes off at 2 p.m. You can even say El vuelo despega a las 3 de la tarde, which means the flight takes off at 3 p.m. You can even say de la mañana, which means a.m. You can even say de la noche, which means p.m. but for night. ¿A qué hora aterriza el vuelo? At what time does the flight land? Now, we know that a qué hora means at what time. Aterriza is the opposite of despega, which means land. So you are actually saying at what time does the flight land? El vuelo aterriza A las 4 de la mañana. The flight lands at 4 a.m. Now, a las 4 means at 4 and de la mañana means a.m. You can even say p.m. over here, which will mean de la tarde, and you can even say p.m., which can also mean de la noche. But that de la noche will be in the night. ¿Qué quiere pedir usted? This means what do you want to order? Que with an accent on the E means what? And quiere means you want, and pedir means to order. And usted we know means you, formal. It's used for politeness. Instead of writing usted, you can even write tú. But if you want to write tú, then you need to put an S after the word quiere. You have to be careful with this. This is something that the air hostess will ask you, and you can answer something like solamente una taza de té, which means only a cup of tea. You can even say solamente una taza de agua, which means only a cup of water. You can even say café, which means coffee. You can even say chocolate, which you can say solamente un chocolate, etc. Now, let's go ahead. ¿Cuántas maletas tiene usted? Of course, when you go to the airport authorities will ask you when you want to put your stuff on the conveyor belt. This in Spanish is how many suitcases do you have? So as you can see, suitcases means maletas. And of course, you can write tú instead of usted. But remember that when you want to put tú, then after tiene, you need to put an S. Just all you have to remember is after each verb, just keep putting an S if you want to use tú. And cuántas means how many, and so forth. ¿Qué hora es? Of course, if someone asks you ¿qué hora es?, that means what time it is. And you can say something like son las 8, which means it is 8. Alright? And of course, son las 8, you can even say son las 7, which means it is 7. Son las 6, which means it is 6. Son las 9, which means it is 9. And how about if you want to say it is 8:15? So you can go like son las 8:15, which means it is 8:15. How about if you want to say it is 8:30, then you will go like son las 8:30, or 10:30 son las 10:30, 11:30 son las 11:30, etc. Now let's go a little bit more forward. We will learn how to catch a taxi. So you're in Spain and you want to go somewhere. What kind of conversation will you have with that person? Now, el pasajero means a male passenger. If it's a female passenger, you will say something like la pasajera, which means the female passenger. So you can go like buenos días or buenas noches or buenas tardes, and you can go like tengo que ir al centro por favor, which means I have to go to the center, please. We had also learned this earlier. Tengo que ir means I have to go. Por favor means please. Okay, so el taxista, which means the taxi driver. Here, la taxista will mean the female taxi driver. So el taxista can go like, claro, ¿a qué parte del centro? Of course, to which part of the center? Okay, another word for sure can also be por supuesto, or vale, V-A-L-E, which means okay. El pasajero, the passenger. A la escuela internacional que está en la calle 50. Está cerca del parque. So he tells the taxi driver where he wants to go to. He says to the international school that is on the street 50. It is near the park. Okay, Escuela Internacional is international school, and que está en la calle 50 is on the street 50. Calle, la calle over here is the street, and está cerca means it is near. Okay, and basically del parque is of the park. Since we can't write de el, we join de el and it becomes del. It's a rule in the Spanish language. And the opposite of it is near will be está lejos. Lejos means far. So you can even use this word when you're speaking. For example, saying está lejos del parque, which means it is far from the park. The taxi driver then says, listo, vamos, which means I am ready, let's go. You need to remember that if you are a female, then you will say lista. And then vamos means let's go. Vamos also means we go. Now, let's say you are in the taxi. Then what happens? What kind of conversation will you have then? When the taxi driver arrives, he will say, la escuela está aquí. This means the school is here. The opposite of here will be there, which in Spanish will be pronounced as Ali, A-double-L-I, with an accent on the I. You can even say allá, which means over there, A-double-L-A, accent on the A. El pasajero will then say, muchas gracias, cuánto vale? Thank you very much. How much does it cost? Another way to ask a cost of something will be, cuánto cuesta? How much does it cost? Okay, another way for muchas gracias is muchísimas gracias, which means thank you very much. Muchísimas is the superlative of the word muchas. Then el taxista will say, vale 10 euros. Okay, 10 euros. Okay. Vale means okay. Then the pasajero will say, aquí lo tiene. Quédese con la vuelta. Basically, quédese con la vuelta is a fixed expression. It means keep the change. And aquí lo tiene means here you go or here you have it. Okay, because aquí you know means here and lo means it, a masculine it, and tiene means you have. So here you have it. This is its literal translation. Then el taxista will say gracias, which means thank you. Okay, so this is the conversation you should learn for how to travel in a taxi, and you can definitely add more sentences if you want in this. Now, how to converse in a hotel's reception. This is a very easy conversation also. You can first say buenos días. Quería reservar una habitación para este sábado. So buenos días, you can even write buenas tardes here. Do not write something like buenas noches because that is like ending a conversation. So good morning, I wanted to reserve a room for this Saturday. Quería means I wanted. It is something used for politeness, if you want to be polite. You can even say something like quiero, Q-U-I-E-R-O, which means I want. But that will not sound too polite. It will look very rude by saying I want to reserve a room for this Saturday. So don't use something like that. Okay, and reservar, you know, means to reserve. Una habitación means a room, and para este sábado means for this Saturday. There's another this in Spanish, which is esta. You can't say esta sábado because sábado is a masculine word, and esta is a feminine this. We have two types of this, este and esta thises. Okay, we have two thises. Now, para cuántas personas? Obviously, the receptionist will ask you for how many people. Okay, para is for. Para dos personas, for two or just for two people, con dos camas with two beds y un baño completo and a complete bathroom or en-suite bathroom. Notice that since baño is a masculine word, the word completo will also be masculine. We can't write completa. The person says, vale, the receptionist, incluimos el desayuno? Okay. This can be translated as, do you want breakfast? Or do you want breakfast included? Or shall we include the breakfast? No gracias, solamente el alojamiento or solo el alojamiento, which means no thanks, just the room, or it can also mean just the accommodation. De acuerdo, of course. Or, okay, a partir de las 12 tendrá su habitación lista. Your room will be ready from 12 o'clock. A partir de means from, And a partir de means from, and las 12 means 12 o'clock. Tendrá means you will have. And su habitación means your room, and lista means ready. Then of course you have some problems at times. In your hotel you can say something like, buenos días, me gustaría una copa de té or una copa de café caliente. I would like a cup of hot tea or a hot coffee. Instead of me gustaría, you can also put something like quería, which means I wanted, or quiero, which means I want. And instead of saying copa, you can also say taza, T-A-Z-A. If you want cold tea, you can say something like, for example, cold coffee can be something like un café frío, or if you want iced tea, you can say something like un té helado. La luz no está funcionando. The light is not working. Está funcionando is working. No está funcionando is not working. And la luz means the light. No hay agua caliente en el cuarto de baño. There is no hot water in the bathroom. Agua means water. And cuarto de baño means bathroom. Okay, so obviously you can create your own conversations, and you have to learn this conversation very well if you are planning to travel to a Spanish-speaking country. And make sure you add more of your lines also. Now, there are some more problems that occur in the hotel. It can go like, el aire acondicionado no está funcionando. The air conditioner is not working. So basically all you have to do is, you already know how to say no está funcionando. Then you, instead of the air conditioner, you can add any word you want. For example, you want to say the heating is not working, for example. So you can say la calefacción no está funcionando. La calefacción means the heating. You want to say, for example, you have a microwave in your kitchen of the hotel. You can say la microondas no está funcionando. Las microondas is the oven or the microwave. Mi cuarto no huele bien. My room does not smell good. Okay, now huele in Spanish means smell, and bien means good. Alright? Now, you have insects in your room. You can say hay insectos en mi cuarto. You already know that hay means there are, so you can go like hay, and insectos means insects, en mi cuarto room. You can even say en mi habitación. And if there are other problems, you want to say there are mosquitoes, you can say hay mosquitos en mi cuarto. If there are ants in your room, you can say hay hormigas en mi cuarto, and so forth. Okay, so as I had said earlier also, please add your own lines. Learn your vocabulary very, very well. And you will be very, very comfortable with all this. And of course, you have a vocabulary here that you will get in the end. You will use that vocabulary to frame your sentences properly. Now let's move ahead. Let's go to how to converse in a restaurant. Let's look at some vocabulary for vegetables first. Let's learn their pronunciation. Now, in Spanish, las verduras means the vegetables. Another word for verduras is los vegetales. Now, you should repeat after me. La lechuga means the lettuce. Now, the reason we're putting la here is because, as you know, lechuga is ending in a. La lechuga, the lettuce. El tomate, the tomato. Now you must be saying this word is not ending in O. Still we think it is a masculine noun. We're putting a masculine article L. We're putting the masculine the. That is because you just have to learn it. Okay, sometimes even when the word is not ending in an O, it will still be considered masculine. Why does that happen? Nobody knows. You have to learn it by yourself. La cebolla, the onion. El pepino, the cucumber. La patata, the potato. La batata, the sweet potato. Okay. La zanahoria, the carrot. You will not say la zanahoria. Z in Spanish is pronounced as th or s, like it was taught earlier. La coliflor, the cauliflower. El pimiento, the bell pepper, the red bell pepper. La berenjena, the brinjal. El broccoli, the broccoli. El champignon, the mushroom. Another word for mushroom in Spanish is la seta. La seta, S-E-T-A. La calabaza, the pumpkin. El maíz, the maize. Los guisantes, the peas. El calabacín, the zucchini. Something that you get in Europe a lot. Let's go. For example, you can go like you want to go to a restaurant. You sit in a restaurant and the waiter or waitress asks you something like this. ¿Qué le gustaría beber? What would you like to drink? Okay. They can also ask you something like ¿Qué le gustaría comer? Comer means to eat. Okay. You can go like ¿Qué hay en el menú? Which means what is there in the menu. Okay. You can even go like ¿Hay algo especial? Which means is there anything special? Algo means anything. Especial means special. Of course, you will ask them, you would like a starters first. What would you like? You can go like ¿Qué hay de primer plato? Primer plato is first plate basically. The literal translation for primer plato is first plate or first dish. Plato also means a dish. So this actually means, obviously you can't translate it as what is there for first dish or what is there for a first plate. You will go like what is there for the starters. Alright. Then obviously you can go like something like there is always a chance for drinking soup. You know, you say I want to take some soup. So you can say like me gustaría la sopa. I would like soup. Okay, you already know how to say I would like. So I would like is me gustaría. Sopa means the soup. And for example, you want the soup of maize. You can go like me gustaría la sopa de maíz. I would like a soup of maize. You want a soup of carrot. Me gustaría la sopa de zanahoria. You want a soup of tomato. You can go like me gusta la sopa de tomate. You want a soup of mushroom. Me gustaría la sopa de champiñón. Okay. You want a soup of cauliflower. Me gusta or me gustaría la sopa de cauliflower. Alright. Now, you can even tell them for starters at times in Spain can have wine at times also. So you can say para la bebida, me gustaría un vino tinto. For drinks, I would like a red wine. Vino tinto is a red wine. Vino tinto is something that that comes under the culture of Spain a lot. Okay. They have a lot of red wine in Spain. So this is something you should know very well. So when someone asks you, ¿Qué le gustaría beber? You can tell them, para la bebida, me gustaría un vino tinto. Or you can say, me gustaría beber un vino tinto, which means I would like to drink a red wine. Now, you can go like, ¿Qué hay de segundo plato? Obviously, you can ask the waiter something like, what is there for the main course? A segundo plato means second plate. It also means the main course. And they can say something like, para el segundo plato tenemos el pollo asado, el arroz con el pescado y la langosta. This means for the main course, we have barbecue chicken, rice with fish, and lobster. Con means with. And el arroz means rice, And pescado means fish, langosta means lobster. They can even tell you names of vegetables I had shown you earlier. ¿Qué hay de postre? What is there for dessert? Okay, postre means dessert. You can say something like, para el postre, tenemos el flan. The waiter will say, for the dessert, we have pudding. This is just an example. Obviously, they can give you more answers. They can say, tenemos una torta, which means we have a cake. Tenemos una torta de chocolate, which means we have a cake of chocolate. They can also say we have ice cream, which means helado. Okay, so do have a look at this. Do try to learn this properly before traveling to a Spanish country, and add some more sentences to this dialogue also. Alright? This is it for this lesson. We're going to learn useful Spanish vocabulary right now that you will find very, very fun to learn. First, let's look at its translation. Here is a list of Spanish vocabulary of professions with its translation into English. Let's look at the first word. The first word is profesor, profesora, which means teacher or professor. Now, in Spanish, we have genders for words. For example, the male teacher would be pronounced as profesor, whereas the female teacher would be pronounced as profesora. We simply add an A. It is different compared to English, where we just have one word teacher for both male and female. We don't have a word, for example, teachero or teachera for a girl. But in Spanish, we have that. The second word is abogado, abogada, which means a lawyer. Of course, abogado will be for a male lawyer, whereas abogada will be for a female lawyer. The third one, cirujano, cirujana, surgeon. The J in Spanish is pronounced as k instead of j. That's why we pronounce this word as cirujano and cirujana. The next word, jardinero, jardinera, is a gardener. Científico, científica, scientist. The letters CI together are pronounced as C or C. C if you're in Latin America, C if you're in Spain. Gerente, manager. GE is pronounced as he and not J. Words in Spanish that end in E will remain the same for both male and female nouns. They will not change into gerento or gerenta. If it's gerente, it will also be for the girl. Banquero, banquera, which means banker. QUE is pronounced as que instead of que. That's why its pronunciation is banquero. Doctor, doctora, that is a simple one. It means doctor, doctor. D in Spanish will be pronounced as the instead of de. Actor, actriz, actor, actress. The Z is pronounced as th instead of s. The T is pronounced as the. Another word for actress can also be actora. Cantante, singer. Now you can see that the word is ending in ante. When the word ends in ante, it is also used for girls. Fresa, strawberry. Cereza, cherry. CE is also pronounced as C. Sandia, watermelon. You will notice that there is an accent on the I, the tiny line, instead of the regular dot on top of the I. That means we have to stress on this letter. So we need to say sandia and not sandia, because it has an accent on top of the I. It means watermelon. The next word is plátano, which means banana. This word also has an accent on the A. That means I have to stress on this letter and say plátano instead of plátano. If there was no accent on the A, I would have said plátano. But because of the accent, I'm going to say plátano. The next word, manzana, apple. This will also be pronounced as manzana. Naranja, orange. Notice that I have pronounced J as K instead of J. I can say a few sentences. I can say, me gusta fresa. It means I like strawberry. Me gusta manzana. I like apple. Spanish vocabulary for more fruits and colors, etc. Uvas, grapes. Rojo, roja means red. Blanco, blanca means white. Amarillo, amarilla means yellow. I would like to draw your attention to the two L's. They are pronounced as lia or y. So you can pronounce this word as amarillo or amarillo. Both are correct. Negro, negra, it means black. So if you're talking about a masculine noun's color, red, you will say rojo. If you're talking about a female object, whose color is red, you will use roja. Helado, ice cream. Galletas, biscuits or cookies. Arroz con leche, rice pudding. It actually means rice with milk. Arroz means rice, con means with, leche means milk. Panqueque, pancake. I already told you that Q-U-E is pronounced as que. Pastel or torta means cake. Cocada, coconut cookie. Banuelos, fritters. Vino, wine. Leche, milk. Vino blanco, white wine. Cereza, beer. I can say something like, for example, yo como, I eat panqueque. I eat pancake. Yo como galletas. I eat cookies. Yo como means I eat. More vocabulary. Naranjada, orange juice. Jugo, zumo means juice. Zumo de naranja, orange juice or juice of orange. Zumo means juice, de means of, naranja means orange. Limonada, lemonade. Agua, water. El té helado, iced tea. Los Estados Unidos, United States of America. Italia, Italy. Bolivia, Bolivia. Holanda, Holland. La India, India. España, Spain. Las Filipinas, the Philippines. Uruguay, Uruguay. Now, I can say a series of sentences with these words. For example, I can say, yo bebo jugo. Yo bebo means I drink. Yo bebo jugo. I drink juice. Yo bebo la limonada. I drink lemonade. Me gusta la limonada. I like lemonade. I had told you earlier that me gusta means I like. Yo bebo el té helado. I drink iced tea. I can also say something like, yo vivo en Italia. I live in Italy. Yo vivo means I live. V-I-V-O. Yo vivo en Holanda. I live in Holland. Yo soy de España. I am from Spain. Yo soy means I am. The spelling is S-O-Y. Yo soy de España. Yo soy de Filipinas, which means I am from Philippines. You have learned a lot of vocabulary, and from all these vocabulary words, you can easily create sentences. You have learned 3 new expressions also, such as me gusta, which means I like, yo como, which means I eat, and yo bebo, which means I drink. Join these three expressions with this new vocabulary you have learned and create sentences by yourself in your notebook. Let me create some more sentences with you. Yo bebo agua, I drink water. This is it for this lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. Please keep practicing your Spanish.